No, I particularly scheduled this to be Crackling Thunder as we talked about Thunderbolt. So I think I should get some bonus points there.
Green flag, green flag.
Welcome to the Blind Apex Podcast, where amateur club racers tune in to get faster.
This episode is brought to you by Deechworks Fuel Systems. Visit deechworks.com for all your fuel system needs. Yet again, it's another selfish episode for me. We're going to do a track talk about NJMP Thunderbolt. This year, 2025, there's going to be a NASA Northeast, NASA Mid-Atlantic crossover race. Zephyr's been down to hang out with us. Dylan's been down to hang out with us. I figure I should go attend something. And Thunderbolt's on iRacing, so I might as well practice a little bit. But, you know, I'm not that good at iRacing, so I'm definitely not the pro at this, and I need more help. So I have a guest. Joining me, he seems like he's raced everything in NASA. Currently, I think he's in a 350Z ST4 car. Maybe that changed already. I don't know. He's held what seems like every position in NASA Northeast, and now he's the NASA Northeast race director and a new dad, which I don't know how you're going to swing that one. Brian Casella, welcome to the podcast, sir.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to challenge you more, the new dad life or the race director life, but
wow, yeah, you're not kidding. Because every year is a challenge in race director world, so we'll see how this one goes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe until they're like, he's potty trained and doing his sort of independent thing, you might think that dad life is a little tougher than race director, but we'll see. And then the teenage years, but you got time, you got plenty of time for that.
Yeah, I mean, he may or may not have a little car to drive already, so we'll see.
I have no doubt. I don't know anyone that races that as soon as they have a child don't already have some sort of car picked out for their child. So,
yeah.
Before we get too deep into NJMP Thunderbolt, what's your background with racing?
Well, I grew up in a racing family, so did some karting when I was very young, but quickly got into driving cars at Pocono when I was very young, which was great. So got a race license. I think it was 16, 17, something like that. I can't really remember. I did take 2 comp schools, so that may be why I'm a little gray on that matter. And then I've been racing pretty consistently, minus some life events since then. So 20 years roughly of racing. I've helped out with NASA Nationals as a compliance guy. I've helped pretty much every role, as you mentioned, in the Northeast region. Even drove down and helped out Chris Cabetto once or twice as a race director at VIR for him when his regular guy had some conflicts in schedule. I also worked in the industry doing some automotive stuff. I used to work at a shop called VAC Motorsports in Philadelphia, built some crazy BMW cars there. But now I'm just focusing all on the NASA stuff.
So it's safe to say, I guess, well, I know how old you are. You don't have to tell the world that, but essentially you've raced at Thunderbolt since Thunderbolt has existed, right?
Yes. Yeah. NASA was lucky. I think we were the 3rd club on the track. Don't quote me on that, but we were definitely there very early. Which was great. I mean, I have enjoyed Thunderbolt very much since it's became a thing. And when it was redone just recently, I've enjoyed it even more.
Yeah, so that's one of the conundrums I have with, I don't think iRacing has updated since the paving. So
Ooh, okay.
the rumor, because they'd have to scan the track and stuff again. I don't think they have.
Sure.
So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to hear the differences for the update, but and also in a turn by turn. But I'd hate to jump in that early to the topic, at least the turn by turn. What I like to do is cover let's start outside the track. So if I have an issue, or like your wife, she was pregnant for a time, if she had a craving or something, what food is around? Are there auto parts stores around? You know, what is there to do? Maybe my wife gets bored, right? Because she'll read books in the paddock, and she'd probably
Yeah.
rather go explore a town or something. What's around NJMP?
So Millville does actually have an airfield museum, because there is an airfield right next to the racetrack. There's also kind of a quaint downtown that has a couple different restaurants. It has a couple like little shops that some people go into. I mean, if someone was really looking for a trip, you could be in Atlantic City in less than an hour. So that's always, we actually did that once on a weekend. We chartered a bus, and like 20 of us jumped in it and went to AC for an evening and came back. So that is a real possibility. You have a lot of chain restaurants. Texas Roadhouse is usually a common stopping ground for most people on the race weekend, and it's all close to like the highway, Route 55. Your staples of Chick-fil-A for all those Southern people, so you're good to grab Chick-fil-A too. If you wanted to venture out a little bit, a really good Italian restaurant in Vineland called Martino's is very good. I like to go there, with a small group, and it's a bring your own. Welcome to New Jersey. You can bring your own alcohol. It's
Bring
not
your
all the
own
place.
alcohol. Don't pump your own gas.
We really have figured things out here. But yeah, so that's a cool little spot too. Trying to think of some other restaurants. There is a clubhouse on the property. So, and in the summer, they actually have a pool, and they have axe throwing and cornhole too out back as well. So that's a common place a lot of people like to go and hang out, or you can grab a quick lunch if you don't have a lot of time during the day. There's a pro shop at the Thunderbolt property as well. So if you just wanted to go shopping and check out what was in there. Yeah, I mean, that would probably be a good amount of the stuff around there.
Yeah. And by the way, you weren't joking about that thunderstorm, apparently, because that was quite loud. But he wasn't getting his house demoed while he was also on a podcast. Let's put it that way.
No, I particularly scheduled this to be crackling thunder as we talked about Thunderbolt. So I think I should get some there.
It's fitting. 100% fitting.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're at the track, is there camping spots, designated areas, tent spots, anything like that, showers, those types of things?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, so those who have not been to the track, first off, main gate's going to have like two directions. So, we're not going to be going towards the right because that's where Lightning is, and we're going to be at Thunderbolt for this one. So once you come into the paddock, you're going to come over the bridge that drives right over the track. And when you land in the paddock there, you're going to have race fuel and regular 93. And then there'll be an open parking lot to the left there where race grid would be, or TT grid. In the paddock, there will be boxes sporadically throughout the area for hookups. There will not be any like running water or anything like that. Sewage dump, so if you're bringing like a big camper, you have to figure that out. That's not available. But all the power is included for when we rent the track, so you will not need to pay for that. However, if you didn't want to run your, camper, or if you were actually going to take a shower, if you were tenting, there are a good amount of showers under the Officers Club, which is towards the turn 3 side of the paddock. It's a big building where there's going to be full bathrooms plus the pro shop that I was mentioning. So we have showers, you have gas, you have electricity, so you pretty much have everything you need.
Sweet. Yeah, that's specifically for me because I live in a tent while I'm at the racetrack. So
Nice.
Yeah, I don't worry about power. We'll deal with that some other time. But yeah, I need always.
They also have a
bathroom.
couple. There's some hotels on the front straightaway, similar to like how VIR set up.
Okay.
I want to say maybe like 30 different rooms, and they're above the garages that are on the pit straight.
Mm-hmm.
They're so you rent the hotels through the track, obviously, but the garages would be taken up through NASA, so you could register for those if you were coming.
Okay. I don't know if I'm that bougie. We'll see. I haven't done it at VIR, so I'm not sure why I would do it at NJMP. So
because it's convenient.
Well, it is convenient, but okay, so we talked about RV hookups, bathrooms. There's a pro shop. Seems like a squared away racetrack. So some places don't have everything, like showers or things like that. So I always like to make people aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into the turn by turn.
Sure.
And where it changed and how it's changed. Let's start with turn 1, please.
Yeah. So 1 probably saw a good amount of change, honestly, from the old configuration to the new. The width of the track is much more. The curbing development is much more. I actually was on the council for the repave. I had some criticisms about how they were cutting in the curbing, and I wasn't able to go on site because of a schedule conflict. But so I know a little bit about how the development of the curbing is, and they also fixed all the draining issues. So if you had been there in the old style, if it rained, you were looking to not be anywhere near the apex on turn 1. But right now they have fixed that issue. So turn 1s became a lot faster because of the width and the curbing that they added on the apex, which completely changes like your exit and completely changes turn 2.
Okay. I've heard rumors that it's like significantly faster in 1. So,
yeah, I'd probably say 8 to 10 mile an hour faster as an exit speed.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's gnarly. I'm looking at a track map and I can't tell if it's an extension or if it's a new way to get from pit road. But does the pit road dump onto the track between turn 1 and turn 2?
Yes.
Okay.
That it does.
Yeah. Heed your blend lines, I guess, there, because it looks short, but it's a fast turn that they're coming out. So
yeah, we'll have a pretty strict ruling on like getting the entry of turn 2. Really not something you'll need as you're exiting the pit lane. So definitely want to stay driver's right as you're coming out from the pits.
Okay. So let's talk about the turn 1, turn 2. I don't know how you're going to set up and stuff like that.
Sure. So yeah, you're exiting turn 1. The curbing is definitely more forgiving and extended. So you're not going to like drop a wheel and drop into this massive hole all the fast guys have put into just off the racing surface. Honestly, you can even leave your left side tires on that curbing, and as you're setting up for turn 2. Turn 2 has a considerable amount of compression in the entry because it is uphill. So another challenging point that you're blind on the exit.
Okay. So it's going to compress you on entry. are you unloading going up the hill and blind, or do you stay planted pretty much, even though you're going up the hill?
Yeah, you're planted pretty much to the apex, just past the apex by a couple feet, and then it does fall off as you're exiting. There's also a chicane on the inside of 2 that we traditionally never use.
Mm-hmm.
It's more so for the motorcycles, so that will be there as a possible hiding point if you're having a mechanical failure and you didn't make it into the pits.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you're transitioning past the apex to the exit, there's probably the largest curbing amount the track offers is right there on the exit of turn 2.
Is it to catch your unloaded car as you slide out?
Yeah, it definitely falls away. It's not as forgiving there. And it has multiple tiers in that curbing too to catch you. So it's going to increase in its severity as you get deeper into the curbing. The curbing is so wide that you could put your whole car on the curbing.
Okay.
Like my car pretty much fits on there and you were right. I am racing a 350Z right now. So anything that would really be less wide than that would for sure fit on there 100%.
Okay. And so from your left side, right? Because turn 1 and turn 2 are 2 right-handers. Your left side coming out of 2, setting up for 3, right? Which is also a right-hander.
Yep.
How are we taking 3? And are you guys
as you dare?
as fast as you dare? So you're not doing the 3A, B, C chicane cut in.
Correct. Yeah, we rarely use that chicane just because like 3 is such a great driver's corner.
Okay.
It really challenges you on your timing and your car control. And it really helps from an administrative point of view. It really helps just the whole race circuit flow. Because people can carry speeds, they can set people up to be passing them, coming in, coming out. So I personally like that to diminish the, mixed class racing factor, versus, jamming on the brakes and having a hard, right, left, right situation if you took the chicane of 3.
So you said take it as fast as you dare. What corner would you compare it to from another track, if there was one?
Now, I haven't been to Summit Point in quite some time. I mean, it's probably been probably 15 years or more. Obviously, turn 3 is a left-hander, but it would be more of that type of a pace where you're very high in the RPMs. Typically for me, I'm like in a 4th gear for this corner, and I'm trying to not brake at all, if not try to be partial throttle in the entry. Really carrying as much entry speed as you can to be aiming for that curbing on the apex. Again, if your car's forgiving, you can get up on that curbing. It's not too bad. And then just carrying it all the way across the track, really high gear. I mean, you could be exiting there well over 100.
Okay. Yeah, to me, well, it still feels like in iRacing, which it has no real applicability, I feel sometimes, but it feels a lot like turn 10 at VIR, so South Bend at VIR. Because we're entering, mid 90s probably and accelerating out to 100 plus probably. So, and there's elevation at VIR, but I don't think there is any here. I'm trying to remember my corners. So,
yeah, it's relatively flat. It dips a little on the exit. And then it will climb shortly after that. because then you have the gravest elevation of the whole course right as you're exiting the corner. But it would be more so where you would be driving straight, getting towards turn 4.
Okay. So we've hit 3 right-handers in a row, and somehow we have another right-hand corner, turn 4, but we haven't made it a circle yet. So
I know. NASCAR can't figure that out, but
Right.
we have in road racing.
We have figured it out.
Yeah.
So between turn 3 and turn 4, you said you're going uphill and you're making the climb. Is turn 4 blind?
So there's, again, the elevation you'll gain as you leave the exit, the true exit, as your car really straightens out. Then you'll climb. It's probably about, I want to say 2 stories or so, maybe not that much. And then you'll actually be like in your 5th gear, possibly, definitely inspect Miatas, for me as well, actually, with my shortened box I put in my car. And then you'll get a little light because it's that much elevation.
Mm-hmm.
And the second you land and it's like a car length before the brake markers for turn 4. And you're really going to be getting on the brakes a good amount, usually maybe even a quick downshift if you're in 5th going into 4th. And then it's a very quick, challenging corner 4 that, sets you up for the first left after it as you're exiting. And it's a very quick exit because you are carrying a lot of speed as you get through 4.
Okay. So between turn 4 and turn 5, are you hustling all the way back over, or are you going to have to cheat mid-track to take turn 5?
You know what? It really is a what type of setup you need for your car to make that left. The typical racer's line is going to be very far left. If you're struggling to kind of get that car to rotate, you'll easily walk off the edge of the exit of 4 till about middle track. Personally, I think if you enter the traditional DE line, full driver's right into 5, it's a little off camber. So I usually don't make it all the way over to the 5 corner entry. And then, it's your first left. So like all of your tire temperatures to turn left are not great. So you should always plan for a little steering correction, let's say.
Right. Keep your hands quick.
Yeah, because once you set the car after you've done now 4 right-handers, sometimes it doesn't like it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's your left-hander. It seems like we're going back into a set of right-handers. I'm going to assume that you're going to rotate your tires left to right a lot at this track.
You'd be surprised. It's not so bad on tire degradation on one side to the other.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the left-hand side would be a little more,
Okay.
just because, it has one really hard turn that's going to grain the right-hand side tires, as we, we'll talk about it in a minute as we get into like the octopus section. But
yeah. So you're coming out of 5. The 6-7 combo is another couple of right-handers. They're both 90-ish degrees, but 7 is tighter than 6. So let's talk about 6. And are we carrying as much speed as we can? Are we scrubbing to make the turn, or are we just accelerating through? Because 5 was kind of tight.
yeah, so 5's a bit tight. That's where you'll kind of get to your lowest gear most likely, and then you'll definitely do an upshift coming in the 6 in most cars. And again, I've raced like Spec Miatas and Honda Challenge cars, GTS cars here, now my ST4 car, even Super Unlimited actually. And then 6 is very quick. If I had to put a number on it, your entry speed's in the upper 80s. And then you should be exiting pretty equal to that for the quick shoot right through down to 7. There's a little bit of elevation in going downhill into 7. And then 7's a decent brake zone to really get the car to rotate early. And the radius opens up in 7 for the, what everyone knows is like the octopus section, which is, sometimes challenging to get the car to rotate and all that. But yeah, I mean, there's room. What's really nice about the complex of like 6 and 7 is like you can really play with trying to carry as much speed, and it's forgiving because there's space to go off if you had to drop a tire or go 4 off.
Yeah. So the high commitment turn in turn 3, there's a decent amount of runoff, at least from the videos that I've seen and people who miss their marks. So it seems pretty open in general, at least to this point in the track.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, you don't want to go too far off if you do in 3, just to backtrack for a quick second, just because there is a little bit of a ditch down there where you'll hit and get a little airborne.
Right.
Yeah, realistically, the closest place the track has, came to any type of wall is 5 to this point, as we've now talked about, 1 through 6 pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, 7's just as far away from the wall as 6 is. And then realistically, you're kind of in the home stretch once you kind of get through like the 7-8 combo.
Okay. So, is the octopus considered 8, 9, 10, 11 ish?
12, 13? No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
No, yeah. So for sure, we would consider like the front end that we would traditionally call 7, and then 8 would be really where that radius has kicked up, where everyone, struggles to get the car to rotate pretty much, especially on a hot day, which this crossover could happen at. There's definitely going to be lots of understeer that's going to happen over there.
Okay. It's great for my car. 8th gen Civics, we understeer very well. We're good at that. Sounds like a magnificent time.
Yeah, it was not fun in my Honda days, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So, the 8, 9, 10, 11 section is, you're starting to understeer into 8, 9. Have you slowed down enough through when you get through 9 to sort of get the car square again? And
it's a good point. So it's you really will need to have some considerable timing to make sure that you position the car in the right place to get through there as quickly as possible. But you will need to open up the wheel to give it a significant brake to get the car to rotate for that increasing radius. So, there's some wheel work that will happen, even though the car is going to be loaded on the left side.
Okay. All right. So let's talk turn 10. Is there a specific trick to 10? Because we're coming back to the
10.
left again. Finally.
Yeah. So here you are. Here's your hardest left of the whole course. It's one of those corners where you explore like where the breakaway is on your car.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not great if you're off the complete driver's left. If you are trying to make a pass on the outside, it's challenging. But it could be rewarding considering right when you get out of this, then you're in the S's where you're flat, trying to gain as much speed as possible as you get closer to the front straight. So, it's always a place where you're doing some steering correction, living on the edge of that limit right on here on this left-hand corner. The curbing usually is a great reference, dependent on car setup. Some need a little bit more, distance to get that rotation. If your car's a little stiffer and you can be living on the inside curbing, that's usually where the racing line would be.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, there's the low point too of the track is in that general area as well. So if like it's a wet morning or it rained the day before, that's going to be where things could be the slippery area.
Okay. So that's where the lake will be, or what used to be a lake.
Well, yeah. Well, there in turn 1 apex, correct. Yeah. But now they've increased drainage in both areas.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So we come through turn 10. To me, it looks on paper like a double apexy kind of left-hander setup, but and then you're coming into 11, 11A, and then 12, which is basically like a right, left, right S setup, which in iRacing is definitely flat, but at least in the MX-5, so I don't drive anything fast. So,
yeah, I mean, in the racing perspective, it's usually where you've kind of bottlenecked as you've gotten through, the right, left preceding 11 A and B. So it's very common people have like lost patience, and you got to be heads up about speed differences. People are going to try to jump out, and also the added complication is like as you exit 11B, then you have the pit entrance on the far driver's right. So it's not an area of the track where you can really take a breath. You even though it may seem that because you can be flat through there, you're 100%. Like everybody, and every type of car pretty much is flat through all of that. But you do got to have your wits about you about like shuffling through different speed differentiating speeds plus the pit aspect.
Yeah, I did want to highlight that, 11B in between before 12 is pit in. So there's going to be, if somebody's going to be moving and shuffling, they're moving right there when everybody's trying to open up and use all the horsepowers they have. So it's got to be a little tricky there. So.
Yeah. The gentlemanly thing is, being heads up as you're in that hard left-hander and being outside, giving the racing line or the driving line if you're in DE to the people who are going to be completing the lap. That's usually what happens. But, there is a bridge there. So this is kind of all the way back around now where, when we talked about the paddock, you're going under the bridge to get into the track. So you make a mistake and it's a painful one if you have to hit that bridge.
Yeah. No, I've never seen a bridge they built that would be gentle to a race car. So
yeah, that's where Pruitt hit way back when the track was just getting started. And that's when, IMSA was running there.
Yeah. All right. I mean, that basically completes the lap, right? It's 12 turns. It seems very right turn dominant. Decent elevation gain, a lot of fast stuff with some serious technical stuff that in iRacing, obviously, because I haven't been there yet, the 7, 8, 9, 10 complex is like, you really have to have your wits about you because you're working hard to try to get things to be smooth and fast without getting the car wonky. I don't know what my car will do. It'll probably plow like it's a, Northeast winter, but
we're just using it up here, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, awesome. So I'm excited about going up there. I haven't been to a racetrack probably outside of my region in many, many years at this point. So I'm trying to get all my study on, learn, and not be last place. So.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, actually one thing I'm just remembering we didn't mention is it has this awesome tower
Okay.
on the pit straight. So I think it's like 4 stories, and it has a nice crow's nest that's open to anybody. It has, a whole climbing staircase on the outside, so anyone can climb up there and check out the whole facility, and you can pretty much see the entire track from up there. So it's a great vantage point, and if it's a nice sunny day, you'll see some planes landing in the airfield right next to it.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I didn't realize that. So that's cool. I'm sure it gets busy up there though, but
Yeah, it does. It definitely gets. I don't. When we're having a regular race weekend, I would say, I don't know, 60 to 100 people are standing up there.
oh wow. Okay.
There's no coverage, so make sure you're bringing suntan lotion. There's not much coverage in the paddock at all. So anything to not get burnt that you need to do, bring it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, don't forget your easy up, Dylan. But yeah, awesome. So my next question is for a noob like me, what's your best tip to race Thunderbolt?
My best tip. If you can get turns 1, 2, and 3 done well, you'll get up to speed very quickly.
Okay. So it is about the commitment here.
Yeah. It's really carrying that speed. I mean, you exit 12, you're usually, you're flat in pretty much anything unless you make gobs of horsepower. You're getting up, in my ST4 car, I'm flirting with 140. And then, you're getting down to get through turn 1 at something like high 80s, maybe 90. And if you can carry that momentum through to turn 2, through to 3, and then you're really flying to get into turn 4. So like it covers a grave amount of distance of the track. So if you can really focus your efforts on the 1, 2, 3, getting into 4 complex, then you won't be too far off.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you can lose a lot of time in the high speed stuff. So ton of time there. Awesome. All right. So here's the segment for 2025. And since you've raced so much and you're a brand new race director, maybe we'll have to revisit this. We'll have to have you back on for something because I want to hear after a couple of years of being a race director. But what's your favorite racer excuse?
So as a race director, I obviously get to see some of the not so fun aspects of the sport, right? So a lot of the car to car contacts, got to try to come to a fair conclusion within the rule set that we are working within. The best one I get is he should have known. He should have known I was going to close the door. He should have known that space wasn't there.
Yep.
That's always the best one I get. And it's traditionally from the leading car of a, nose to tail kind of accident or something like that. So
yeah,
he should have known is my favorite line.
That's a good one. We haven't had that one come out yet, but that's definitely a good one. It's a lesson. It's a hard lesson to learn that he's not going to know or she's not going to know. Right. Like, you're not communicating well in a race car with anyone, so you're going to have to make assumptions. So I would prefer to give up a little space to save a lot of body work. So,
couldn't agree with you more.
All right, Brian, I really appreciate you coming on and explaining NJMP Thunderbolt. Where can everybody find you, NASA Northeast, all that stuff, so they can come hang out during this crossover event?
Yeah, so I usually am in the center of the chaos because I'm running around trying to do my own driving and being a race director. So I'll be in garage 120 on the pit lane straight at the event. Come and find me. I'll probably be camped out closer to where that race grid will be when you come right over the bridge. So that's where I'll be having some refreshments later in the evening. But if it's during the race day, I'm usually floating around my garage.
Okay. And where can people sign up for NASA Northeast events?
Yeah, so drivenasa.com. Go register for events, find the Northeast division of NASA, and right on there would be great. We have all types of extra information on nasane.com. We'll have links right to the schedule for the weekend, track maps and things like that on our regional website. Also, the regional rule set will be on there for those that are visiting from out of the region, which might be beneficial to peruse.
I will be stalking it. So, all right. Thanks again, sir.
Yep, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Until next time, keep working on yourself, keep working on the car, and let's get faster.